Hi, I'm Margaret and welcome to Garden School. It is the middle of August and already we can see how the days are shorter here. It still can get kind of warm in the daytime many days, but it cools off a little bit more at night. And the daylight is less. We can really notice that. But there's still an opportunity to plant some things, especially for a winter garden or a fall and winter garden. I wanted to take a look at that today. I did get some seedlings here. I got a cauliflower, a Romanesco cauliflower, which makes a really beautiful chartreuse colored head that has kind of a fractile appearance to it. It's really an interesting one and it tastes delicious. And this one, the Romanesco, it says it's only 78 days to maturity. So since I have seedlings already, that's like going to be, a little over a month and a half. It's the middle of August right now, so a month to the middle of September, then another half to the end of September, actually 2.5 months. So we're probably looking at something like the end of October when these might be sizable to harvest. One thing we do want to remember though is since we have a shorter day length now as we're coming into the end of summer and then the beginning of fall, we might have to add maybe 2 weeks to this. I think that's still going to be okay. They're pretty cold hardy. Another thing I found was a cabbage, a variety called Fargo, and that is only 65 days to maturity. So I might get a nice small head, in maybe 2.5 months, something like that. It's still going to be great because this is also cold hardy. So I'm going to pop those into a place where I have a little extra space, and if necessary, where I will be able to put some protection should we get into too much of a rainy fall or an early cold time. But again, these cole crops, the brassicas, are not going to be affected by a light frost. In fact, many of them, for instance, kale and broccoli, will have a sweeter taste once they hit a frost. So I'll quickly get on with this and we'll talk a little bit about seeds or other things we can start in a garden now toward the end of summer to harvest still this year. Here I have some really short season watermelons that are probably not gonna make it, but I'm hoping maybe for a flower still. We can hope, right? But along the side, the very edge, I have already planted some lettuce. There's some little seedlings of lettuce coming up pretty soon. I should have some more. Lettuce is one thing that you certainly can start now when the weather's a little bit cooler. The days aren't quite so long and hot, a combination of those. And lettuce should be great. Many of them do not do well once it frosts, but there are some that will survive a frost. If you have already, it's probably too late to do a crop of carrots. These are my first crop here. But if you started maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe in our area, the Puget Sound, maybe right at the beginning of August, you could probably have a crop of carrots for the fall. Mine are still going to be fine staying in this spot. So I have also placed these cabbages and the Romanesco cauliflower in an area where I can put hoops. So should the plants come to a size where they will be able to overwinter a little bit more and go into the really cold time, I can put a covering over on these hoops, something to protect them. Well, just something to think about where you're planting. And you know what? We really don't know what our fall is going to be like. We'll just have to wait and see. So there are some other crops you could plant at this time. Any of the short season brassicas. So a kale, but actually a kale, one that can get to a mature size and then go into the winter. If you protect that from some harsh winter weather, you'll have delicious kale all winter. You may need to use some protection with a cover or a little hoop house of some sort. But a short season cabbage, a short season cauliflower, short season broccoli, or even the purple sprouting broccoli, the longer season ones that can endure the winter, and then come the longer, when the days start to increase in length, the daylight, then they will start to grow and you'll get some beautiful little broccoli sprouts to eat in like maybe early March. Kind of cool to do that. But some other things, you know, carrots, if you've already seeded them, great. If I don't know if you're going to be able to find carrot starts. Beets can be done now, or chard, also a good one to do for the winter, fall and winter. And if you're lucky, you'll be able to find some of these at a nursery. So you can use the seedlings, which gives you a couple weeks advantage. If not, then you probably just have to do some planning when your first frost date is, and then see what you can do about when to seed them, start from seed, or else make sure you're going to do the protection to give them a little extra warmth for when it gets kind of cold. And also then the day length decreases, so that will also affect the growth. While beans are not a thing you can do into the winter or into the fall, you can do snap peas, and you may be able to find some starts of those in the nurseries. That would be a really nice thing to have as we come into fall and then to the colder time. Also, you'll soon be able to find some garlic that's time to plant fall, like October, maybe even November, time to plant the garlic, which will sprout and then over winter and then start to grow again as the day length increases, the sunlight increases in amount as we get towards the spring, especially. I had a big thunderstorm last night, about an inch of rain, so I don't need to water those in. There's lots of moisture in the soil for those little transplanted seedlings. But if it was drier, you certainly want to watch the water, and in a couple days I'll check the water too on these starts. You don't want them to stress from drought for sure at this time of year. Well, it looks like we might have another thunder shower coming up, so I better finish this up. I hope you're able to think about some things you can put in for a fall and an early winter garden. Think about lettuce, greens, kale, Swiss chard, beets, and maybe the beets would be for greens. Even radishes you could do. That's a short season crop. Yes, I said Swiss chard, and the peas, and then all those brassicas that you could think of. But look for, it might be better to look for a short season, short days to maturity for those crops. Well, I'm gonna feel some raindrops in a moment. There's always more to learn in the garden. Bye-bye.